In one word or phrase to describe this year's production would be joyful, cathartic, holding a mirror up to ourselves, a feast for the senses. My name is Joe Wilson Jr., and I have been a member of the resident acting company for now going into my 17th season. I'm directing this year's version of A Christmas Carol. First of all, I'm excited to be able to direct the first show back. We've been away now for, it feels like, almost 2 years because of COVID, and so this will be our first in-person production, which I'm really, really excited about. A Christmas Carol has always been one of my favorite holiday stories. It's a great holiday ghost story, and that show, of course, is different every year based upon the director and the concept for that show. But A Christmas Carol has always served as a centerpiece for this institution in terms of the access that it provides for people. You know, for many people, they may not come and see any of the other 7 shows we do a year, but they'll come every year to see A Christmas Carol. Well, my experience as an actor influence everything about my experiences, or the experiences I like to curate as a director. As a director, I'm trying to create a room that feels collaborative, that feels safe, a room that people can try things and look stupid and feel the freedom to do that, because it's only by failure do we find out what works. Creating a room where everyone feels a license and agency to contribute to every aspect of the process. Every year we ask the question, why are we all telling this now? The group of people is always different, always new, but we always ask that central question. So my work as a director is driven by the way that I like to work as an actor, and the way that I more importantly like to feel as an actor. But yes, we do this show every year, and every show is different. There's always a different cast. There's always a different director, there's always a different production team. You know, of course, we use the book, the actual Charles Dickens novel, as a jumping off point. But folk have always tried to find ways to make the production speak to people where they are and come to people where they are. I remember, you know, when gay marriage was first upheld by the Supreme Court, you know, there was a production of this A Christmas Carol that explored, you know, with how differently we could represent these relationships, even in our virtual A Christmas Carol. You know, we had the family of the Cratchits being, you know, 2 men with their child. There's always been that impulse, I think, every single year to kind of find a way to find a different end to this production based upon who we understood ourselves to be in this moment as a people. My production will be a reflection of where we are. I think the event of this production is that we're coming together for the first time in a very long time as an audience and as artists. And I think acknowledging that that's going to be a very emotional experience for us. I imagine the first time that we have an audience in this space, a few tears may be shed. That is a big event in itself, us being in this space. So my production will reflect the fact that, you know, we as actors and audiences are once again taking over the theater. So I think with what we've all been through over the past year and a half, and then thinking about the themes of A Christmas Carol. This show is about a man who has chosen to isolate himself from the world. He's chosen to do so because of a series of given circumstances in his life. I think now in a contemporary sense, we call those traumas. And A Christmas Carol is a story about a character who is then thrust into a journey which forces him to examine his past, what exists in the present, and the potential for the future if he does not change and become more engaged with the world. Over the course of 90 minutes of a production, you watch him put the pieces together for himself. And for him, he gains a sense of consciousness. He really, in essence, he wakes up in this dream world and finds his own capacity to open up his heart. You know, for most of us, we've not, you know, self-isolated, we've been forced to isolate. Now what we're grappling with is the struggle with what does it mean to then re-engage with the world. I think we understand this idea of coming out of isolation and then moving forward, and that fear of the unknown of what that means and what it feels like. But I think also this story was an indictment on how we take care of those who live in less abundance than we do. And if we link that to right now, we're having those same kinds of political questions, debates. And Dickens was writing a play that through Ebenezer Scrooge, we saw a man actually come to understand what his soul is and be present within a community of people and feel a sense of responsibility. Well, in terms of the design, I'm really excited about the design for this year's show. And in the world, in the way that Dickens describes the world, it's like nature is sort of unsettled, and that follows Scrooge home, and it provides the space for this supernatural event to happen. I'm really playing upon the idea in this production of a communion with nature and that which is natural and natural elements. My show is taking place in a building that has been abandoned. And so while you're going to see an extremely beautiful set, you will be able to see through that set echoes of a theatrical space that we exist within. Because the abandoned space that this play is taking place in very much has the echoes of the ceremony of what it means to go to the theater. I'm most looking forward to seeing our audiences back in the space. And I'm also looking forward to the first day of rehearsal of seeing all of our artists back in the space. Not just those who you will see on stage, but the hundreds of people backstage that make this work happen. I'm looking forward to working with Tim Crow. For me, Timmy Crow was he's always the iconic image of that man for me, the way that Timmy embodied that character. And even when I played it, I was thinking about Timmy and thinking about stuff Tim Crow did. So having a chance to work with Tim Crow is really a joy. The opportunity to work again with Ricardo Pitts-Wiley. Ricardo was a longtime member of this company. He worked with us for the first time last year for Radio Golf. And after that experience, I said, Ricardo's got to come back and work with me. And if I ever had the power to do something about that, I said, I'm going to do it. And I immediately had the thought to cast Ricardo as Marley, to be able to put the weight and the gravitas of the relationship of these two men, not Scrooge and Marley, but Timmy and Ricardo on the stage, to have them interact in that Marley scene and to have one friend speaking to another about trying to save his soul, having the grace and the capacity to come back and say, man, you need to change your ways. I found the idea of that exciting and thrilling. So I'm encouraging everyone to please come and see A Christmas Carol. If you've come already to the show, thank you so much for supporting us. If you have not come, please purchase tickets. It's a safe environment. All of our COVID protocols are in place, and we are ready to receive you and keep you safe and have you enjoy a beautiful show. So please go and get tickets. And to buy tickets, you can go to trinityrep.com/Carol and get your tickets. Come and see us, come enjoy the theater, and wishing you love and light in this holiday season, and it's great to be back.